Baby sleep and toddler sleep are two completely different beasts. And if your toddler is struggling to sleep all of a sudden, even though when they were a baby, they were sleeping just fine, I'm gonna tell you the top 10 things that you're doing wrong with your toddler. Now, I'm not one to generally be like, you're doing this all wrong, but sometimes toddlers can kind of like get us down a path of not doing the best things. Now, I'm not gonna jump too far into that comment right now, but let's get into all of the things that you may be doing by mistake, and we'll start with the first thing. Now, we're gonna start with the first thing being that you have an inconsistent bedtime routine. Now, you may think that because your child is a little bit older, you don't have to be as regimented in your routine as you were when they were a baby, but that is completely not true. Toddlers need predictability, they need routine, and they need consistency. The next thing, and I'm sorry if this ruffles feathers, but inconsistent parenting. When mom does one thing and dad does something else, your child is going to develop a parental preference. Now, this means that if mom says, no, it's bedtime, they're going to scream and cry for dad because they know that dad is gonna come in, rescue them, and do whatever they want dad to do. So not being on the same page as parents is going to mess up bedtime. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells here because I don't wanna offend anybody, but at the same time, like, I need to tell it how it is. And sometimes, like, mom and dad, you just need to get on the same page. The next mistake that you are making is probably also going to piss off some parents, but there's a balance between how much control your child can and should have at bedtime. So if you don't have my bedtime routine cards, I'm gonna tell you to go get them in the description box down below. They're cue cards for your child's bedtime routine that you can print out and hang up on your child's wall. They can choose the order of their bedtime routine, but then once they do that, you need to hang them up or even just lay them out on the floor and have your child guide the bedtime routine. This means that you're allowing your child to choose what pajamas they wanna wear, how they wanna brush their teeth. Do they wanna brush first and then have you check their teeth after, or do they want you to brush their teeth first and then they'll brush after? What books do they wanna read? What songs do they want you to sing while you're cuddling? You can let them make those choices. So then when it's time for you to make the choice or to tell them, okay, now we're at the end of your bedtime routine cards, it's time for sleep, then they're more willing to comply. Which brings me to the next mistake. I can't tell you how many times I hear this. My child won't let me leave. Or when they say my child literally won't let me. Okay, repeat after me. My child is not the boss. I am the boss. I am the parent. I make the rules, not your child. So don't let them. It's not even an option. Do not let your child make the rules. Don't let your child not let you leave the room. Which will bring me to my next point. When parents say, I've tried everything. Okay, well, maybe you've tried everything, but maybe that's the problem. Like, that's literally the whole problem, is that you're trying something different all the time. You can't do that. You have to be consistent. So once you choose a method or a strategy, that's that. Like, you're done. Like, that's what you're doing for the rest of your days. You need to choose one thing and stick to it. The next thing you need to consider is if your child has an age-appropriate schedule. So is your child taking a nap too late in the day? Are they sleeping too long? Maybe your child is sleeping for 3 hours and not falling asleep until 11 p.m. Well, you need to take some of that daytime sleep away and put it at bedtime. The next thing to consider is that maybe your child has real legitimate fears. And if you're not empathizing with these fears, then your child is more likely to misbehave at bedtime. So if your child is actually scared, then maybe you need to actually tell them that you understand their fear, and you need to show them, you know, there's no monsters under your bed. Let's look, like, let's go on a monster hunt before bed. There are no monsters in your bed. There's no monsters under your bed. There's no monsters in the closet. We don't let monsters in this house. Or alternatively, you can tell them monsters aren't real. Your imagination's playing tricks on you. So you can tell them, I understand you're scared and monsters aren't real. So That's kind of one way to approach that. You can get your child a nightlight at this point, but validating their feelings and telling them that you understand instead of maybe saying, well, that's ridiculous, monsters are fake. You know, like just, it's all in the language that you use and how you speak to your child. So then the next thing that I wanted to say is that this is something completely different that you could not do when your child was a baby, but you can give your child a distraction. Now, I want to tell you about the Zenimal. If you're not new to my channel, you know that I've talked about this a million times, but this is a child's meditation app, not app, device, that you turn on and your child will be able to select one from 9 of these guided meditations that can distract them from whatever they may be thinking about or whatever fear they may be thinking is in their head. And it's really going to distract them and help them calm their body, relax, and fall into a sleep cycle. So it's totally okay if they fall asleep to a meditation on a Zenimal. These are actually like designed to help your child fall asleep, and it's not a screen device. It's not something that's stimulating your child's brain. It's actually helping them relax and fall asleep. So definitely check the link in my bio and grab yourself a Zenimal. I have 2 of these in my house for my kids and we love them. And then also you can definitely start implementing a tot clock or a toddler clock, whatever you want to use in that respect. I like to recommend getting the hatch because you can change the color of the nightlight, and if you use a red light nightlight, it's not stimulating your child's brain. So if they wake during the night to transition to a new sleep cycle and they see the red light, it's not going to wake their brain and stimulate their brain and tell them that it is time to wake up. So it will still kind of illuminate the room a little bit, but it's also not going to wake them up, and it is not going to stimulate the brain to be awake. Now, I briefly touched on your child being afraid of the dark or just afraid at bedtime. If you need more information on that, check out this video next. Click this button over here to subscribe to my channel and keep blooming. Mwah.